Hey guys, Blakey here and welcome back to another video. Today I've got a video on how to get started with game dev. So I've got a few different things I want to say about this because I get a lot of messages on Instagram and other social media platforms, even YouTube, Discord, on how to get started with game dev, because it does seem like quite an overwhelming, a really ambitious thing to start, as there is a lot of things you've got to think about. And I wanted to make this video as I am really fresh from that process. I haven't even been game deving for 2 years, under 2 years. So I'm still fresh from how I got started, how I dealt with the commitment, how I dealt with it feeling quite overwhelming, like the user interface, how to learn to program, like how to script. Like that is a scary thing to learn. But I'm going to be showing you guys my best tips and tricks and how I got through it, and how it's benefited me today. So let's get straight into the video. So the first thing that I want to talk about is you need to decide if game dev is the right thing for you. And what I mean by this is, are you going to have the commitment to do that? Because when it comes to game development, it needs to be something that you're really interested in, or not even just interested in, that you have a passion for. Or if you really like games and you want to express that for yourself, then yeah, this is probably a thing that you can definitely try. But if it's something that you want to either purely just you're here for the money, so if you want to make money from it, if you want to make a game, let it blow up and make money and leave, game dev doesn't work like that. This is a grind, guys. Game development is a grind. I am 1 year in and I love it even more than when I first started, because the more you do, the more you create, your options expand, and it is just such a fun journey. And I'm so early in it that I'm excited to see what can come from it. If you don't have that passion for game dev, this is not for you, because it is a grind. You are experiencing a lot of different things happen. You're going to experience failures, success, all these different setbacks, these issues that you're going to have to either solve or find a workaround for. But let's get straight into this, because I don't want to overwhelm you with all of these tips. So I'm going to go through them one by one. So yeah, secondly, you need to choose a game engine. So this is not one of the bigger things, but at the same time, it is going to determine how productive you're going to be, how you're going to use it, who you can interact with, because different communities are going to be using different game engines. You can help each other in different situations. So the two main options currently are Unity and Unreal Engine. I personally use Unity for me, I see it as it being more of an independent platform. And personally, I like to work alone. I'm more of a solo game developer, whereas other people that like to work alongside other people, they might tend to use Unreal Engine because it's more of a powerful machine when it comes to team building and team exercises when it comes to game dev. But yeah, so that is a choice that you need to go and research, because it is a big thing that you're going to need to know, because they're two very different platforms. Okay, the third thing that I want to talk about is you don't need to be scared, because it does look like a very overwhelming thing to do. When you're looking at script and coding, the main coding language for Unity is C#, and you're going to be spending a lot of time programming in Unity. You can't, as much as people say that you can make games without coding, you do need to learn it if you're going to make a game that is going to be recognized by even a small number of people. You can't really get anywhere without code. As much as Unity makes it a lot easier, there still is coding required for basic tasks. For example, player movement or anything really. But at the same time, don't be scared. Like I said, programming is one of those things that it looks really hard before you start, but once you actually start learning, you realize that the more you learn, the more you can adapt your previous knowledge to the new thing that you're learning, and you can just keep building that knowledge base until you've just got a feel for the fundamentals of scripts. And from there, you can look up tutorials from different things, but we're going to get straight onto that for the next tip. So onto that, how to learn script and coding and Unity and Unreal Engine. So there's multiple different ways that you can do this, but probably the absolute best way to get started is plainly YouTube tutorials. When you have a particular issue, you need to look that up rather than looking up how to game dev. Just generally how to make like the godliest game in the world. You need to start small. So for me, the first thing I looked up is user interface, and a nice short easy explanation. What does all of this mean? What does the console project mean? What is the assets? What is the inspector? What are all these big scary demon tabs that make me want to cry and are overwhelming me? Yeah, just look that up and get a general feel for it, and then you're just going to start once you understand and you realize, oh, this actually makes a lot of sense, you're not going to be scared. You're going to want to jump in and start making stuff, man. Like, that is the key. It is just so much fun. Once you know what you're doing, you don't want to stop. It's just getting started. That is the hard thing, and I think it's what holds a lot of people back. But it's just it's a hurdle that can be overcome, but I just think people think it's a lot harder than it is what I'm trying to say. The next way that you can learn game development in general is investing in courses. So this is obviously a more paid system, whereas YouTube tutorials do tend to be free, which is why they gain a lot more popularity. But Udemy courses can be really, really helpful, because if you're paying and if you're paying for a course and then you have general one-to-one help, so if you do have a really, really specific problem, you can just get an answer straight away from an expert, and that can be really helpful. But on the downside, of course, you are actually paying for the course. So that's just a choice that you're going to have to make yet again. But anyway, moving on to the next tip. So the next thing that I wanted to say is that you need to expect setbacks. And what I mean by this, I don't want you to do every single thing and be like, oh, this is going to fail. There's a difference between expecting setbacks and kind of just thinking it's going to happen every single thing. You need to hope, but you can't expect everything to work cleanly straight away. I hope that made sense. That did sound quite confusing when I played that back in my head. But anyway, that's what I'm saying. When you come across an error, don't be surprised. To this day, every single day, I'm experiencing errors with everything. All the time, man. Every single time you pretty much script, it is not going to go smoothly, because coding is one of the hardest things to learn, I think. To me, programming can be one of the toughest things that a human being can learn, especially if you're self-taught, like a lot indie game developers are. I'm completely self-taught, and I know a lot of other people are. Like the people that I talk to in my community that I've developed over social media, a lot of us are self-taught. But that can be a really good benefit, and that's one of the things that when you're self-teaching, it is an ambitious project that's really hard to start. But if you invest all of these tips, you're going to be fine, man. You're going to be fine. Once you get over that first hurdle, like I've said, you will be fine. Okay, moving on. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is that you can't expect game development to be an overnight success. So I'm currently working on my second game. I've invested quite a few months now, around 2 months, and it's going pretty well. But the progress between my first game and my second game is quite a lot. Like, there's a lot of different things, but in between that time, it has been a lot of time of just doing the same thing and just working. And I'm going to show you guys some gameplay of my first game compared to the one that I'm currently developing now. You can see my first one is they're both 2D platformers. So as you can see, I've been working on this for like general game dev for quite a few months, and I'm still doing 2D platformers because it's a grind, and you can't just learn how to do the greatest 3D like Resident Evil, The Last of Us, just an absolute masterpiece overnight. You need to start small and slowly work your way up, and I think that's the key thing when you're self-teaching. So yeah, don't expect complete overnight success. You need to take it slow, step by step, face a problem and tackle that problem before you look at the next one. That is the key. And finally, the one thing that I wanted to talk about is you don't need the best equipment. I think a lot of people don't want to get started because they've maybe only got a laptop or one screen with like not the best computer, or whatever it may be. You don't need the best equipment. Obviously, it would help to have a computer. That might help a little bit. You can't make a game from your phone. But even having a laptop, as long as your laptop has decent specs, like it can run basic tasks, and like, you know, it's got like, I don't know, at least 4 to 8 gig of RAM, you're going to be fine. My computer isn't the absolute best, but at the same time, it's not the worst. But it works completely fine, and I currently have 2 screens. So I have dual monitors, but I started game dev on 1 monitor on an older PC compared to the one I have now, and I was working fine, and I completely built myself up from there, and now I have dual screens. Of course, having more than 1 monitor and having a better PC is going to help, but at the end of the day, you're learning and the information is going into your brain. That is what matters, rather than executing it first. You need to learn how to do it. But you could have 10 monitors. If you don't know what you're doing and you don't learn, it's not going to help at all. Somebody with one crappy laptop can make a much better game than you can. Okay guys, I'm going to stop now. I think I've said enough. If you guys want me to do another game dev tip video just like this one was, go ahead and let me know in the comments. If you have any other questions or suggestions for videos in the future, tutorials, whatever it may be, go ahead and let me know in the comments. Go ahead and follow the links in the description to find my Instagram and my Discord and my website. My Instagram is my main profile. This is where I post my game dev updates like every single day. I'm pretty much grinding on Instagram so much at the moment, so go ahead and give me a follow guys. You can get an insight on everything that I'm doing. Go ahead and subscribe if you like the video. I will thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.